Hello. Thank you for having me, Max. I'm very grateful that you're, asked me here. And I'd like for everyone here to talk about the Vancouver Canucks. As we all know, we're all from Vancouver, we're all greater Vancouver. They're a hockey team. We're very proud of them. Struggling this year, but, they have a bright future. And late last year, on Twitter, they got some heat, and it was about their logo. Everyone knows the big orca logo. We all know it. And it was stated by Sean Carlton that the Canucks should look into a change in their logo. And the whole thing was that the logo is cultural appropriation, as it uses designs by the Haida, in Haida Island, just a little bit north of Vancouver Island. And they're saying, he stated that, how are the Canucks allowed to make money off this brand even though it's, not their design? It was they stole their design from someone else, and that they should change that. They even have alternate logos that they've used before. We've all seen the Flying V, the skate, and the ice rink. The skate's beautiful. Just my personal opinion. It's beautiful. And the whole thing was, should they go for a change? And when it comes down to it, I'm not quite sure. It's done in a much more respectful manner if you compare it to, people comparing it to the Cleveland MLB team, both Washington teams, the MLB one and the NFL one, which both had changes. Even the Chicago Blackhawks, and I don't know if I should say that, but people are comparing. And I don't see the same light. Those teams have racial statements and even show indigenous people in goofy manners. This is done and even argument for even the Chicago Blackhawks in a more respectful manner, as it has, it's native art that makes you even think a little bit more. But if I were to look at this, if they're done in a better manner, is they could get some indigenous Haida designers to help design maybe a new logo, and maybe design the orca whale in a little bit different, because teams have done that where they changed the new Dallas Stars logo. It's all right. But there's ways around this that could help. Now they're making money off a design that is also supported by the indigenous people who design. And I said before, this isn't the first time the Canucks have gone insight on, should they change their logo. So, overall, do I see this as a huge thing that should get immediate attention? No. It's in a more respectful manner. Not many people. Maybe they should inform people of, wow, this is actually designed based off this design. Or I think they should create a new design with actual indigenous designers from Haida. But that's my personal opinion. And now on to the Braden Holtby, the newly acquired Vancouver Canucks goaltender. Got in free agency, and, he's been no Markstrom, but he's been all right. All right. We'll put it at that. But before the NHL season started in early January, goalies can get mass designs. Everyone knows that. He got a design. And it was, nice. And he did design, but it was indigenous types of design. Because, Vancouver, even with their logo, as we just talked about. The problem was, and, you can connect it to the whole Vancouver Canucks logo, it was designed by non-indigenous people. Designed by this random, I forget his name, but some random white dude. And people lit him up on Instagram, on social media in general, to the point where he completely dropped it. And I think that's okay. I think that him dropping it and either having a new design created by indigenous people and of the Coast Salish Nation, as every day in school you hear, "Thank you for the lands of this Coast Salish Nation," because we're sitting on taken land. And I think for the Canucks in general, as I'll go back to their logo, is to just create a new design with Indigenous help, and people will be happy. Braden Holtby understood his mistake. He apologized. He has a completely different mask. Haven't seen a game yet, so I don't know what it looks like. But, he learned his mistake. Maybe if he did do it, he got it from Indigenous designers to help do it. But that's my take on it.
Thank you, Ethan. And now we're going to move on to another NHL team. This team is called the Chicago Blackhawks. Here's the logo. This logo has been controversial over the years, but hasn't been pushed to change. So I know the Washington football team just changed their team after much hate, and many people were pushing towards the change, which was good. But this logo here, people have talked about it, but no one's pushed the team to change it. And the logo is it's not as offensive as the Washington team one, in my opinion, but I am not of that culture, so I shouldn't be the one to say that. So basically, I think, in my opinion, they should have to change the logo, but they shouldn't have to change the name. I've done some research on the name Blackhawks, and it's actually the founder of the team basically served in World War I, and that was his unit or division was called Blackhawk or Blackhawks. And so I don't think they could, I don't think they have to change the name, but I think the logo is still literally using a picture of a human of the Aboriginal culture as their logo, and they sell the jerseys to make money from that picture basically. So I think this logo does need to change. It's very historic in the NHL. Chicago is one of the original 6 teams, and they've been around the league for almost 100 years, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, they definitely should have to change the logo, but they can keep the name. But I think maybe it needs to go into, people need to do some deep research, and the ownership of the team should really look into it, because the logo, as you see here, it's pretty offensive. It's basically the same as the Cleveland Indians, who just changed their logo, and then the Washington football team also had a picture like this of the face. And it's just offensive, and it is cultural appropriation. So they're making money off a picture of a person of a different culture. So yeah, that, in my opinion, that's what I have to say. Hopefully it does get changed soon, because it just needs to be changed. The next team I'm going to talk about is in the National Football League. They're probably the most popular NFL team right now, the Kansas City Chiefs. So this also has been a little bit controversial, but people have not been pushing to change it. I'm pretty sure they used to do a thing called the Tomahawk Chop, which is all the fans, and they do a big celebration at one point of the game. And I think they don't do that anymore. I'm 99% sure. But yeah, they've stopped doing that, which is good, because that was a very stereotypical thing to do. And it was pretty racist. But basically their name is the Chiefs, and Chief is also a term for the leader of an Aboriginal group. And the team was originally from Dallas. They were called the Dallas Texans. And obviously when that team moved to Kansas City, they can't use the name Texans anymore. So they changed the name to Chiefs. It was to honor the former mayor of Kansas, who his nickname was the Chief, basically. But still, they use the logo as an arrowhead of an Aboriginal arrow. I've seen adaptations of it with real-life arrows from Aboriginal cultures, and it's a direct example of an arrow. So definitely, they should have to change. I don't think it's just on the nickname of the mayor. They used to do a tomahawk chop, so obviously it's related to Aboriginal culture. So it's going to be hard for them to change, I think. Or no, not hard for them, but I think they're going to be one of the last of these teams to change, because they are the most popular team in the NFL right now. They will be for the next 10 years, I bet. And they sell so many jerseys, so it's hard to say that they're going to change their logo and their name right away because they're just so famous right now across the world. So sadly, this name is probably going to be one of the last ones to change for cultural appropriation, but it definitely should have to change. On the jerseys, there is no logo at all. Football jerseys usually don't have logos; they just have a stripe on the shoulders. So the jerseys don't need to change. They just need to change the logo they use for the helmet and the branding on other hoodies and sweatshirts and stuff. So the Blackhawks and the Chiefs are two other Aboriginal based names who definitely need to be changed. These two teams definitely need to change their logo, and the Chiefs need to change their name because it is using the term, which other cultures don't use that term as the head of a group. We use like mayor, like if they were called the Kansas City Mayors, no problem at all. But Chiefs is going to have to change. But the Blackhawks, in my opinion, they shouldn't have to change their name because it is based off a group of the team founder was in a World War One division called the Black Hawk Unit. So I don't think they should change their name. But maybe if I do some more research, I can research and see if that term is for like if they're all Aboriginal groups, or if it was a group of Aboriginals and they were called the Black Hawk Unit, then it probably should change. But from what I've seen and read, it shouldn't have to change. But the logo definitely should because it is an obvious cultural appropriation. And yeah, so those two will have to change. The Canucks logo should change as well. It is used by Aboriginal art, as Ethan mentioned, and they should redo the logo, maybe using an Aboriginal artist. I think that would be okay, but they did not use an Aboriginal artist for the original logo design, so it's basically cultural appropriation. And then Braden Holtby's mask was cultural appropriation again, using the art style. But he did actually get a new helmet. I don't think Ethan mentioned that, but he did get a new helmet done by an Aboriginal artist from Vancouver recently, and he's actually making a new one right now for the next half of the season. So it's pretty cool to see Aboriginal artists showing off their work. So hopefully maybe they can use the more work and design a new logo for Vancouver, for the Canucks, which would be really cool to see, and they could really honor the Aboriginal culture in the right way. So thank you for listening, and that's going to be it for me and Ethan's video. We hope these names get changed and logos because it's time for change here in the sports community. Thank you for listening.